Hey everybody, this is Doc Mack from the Galloping Ghost Arcade out in Brookfield, Illinois. Today we are doing another one of our Galloping Ghost gamer player profiles, and we are joined by none other than Pete Gorz, who has set so many world records here and high scores and had so many tremendous accomplishments. So thanks, Pete, for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And you've had made so many things happen here at the arcade. So we definitely want to find out more about your gaming experiences and your experiences in arcades in general. So I guess let's start with that. What was your first experience in an arcade?
Well, I guess if it had to have been an arcade setting, Haunted Trails was the only arcade around when I was growing up in the 90s.
Awesome.
And that was pretty much redemption games. And they also had another section where, the regular arcade games were like House of the Dead and several other racing games just out there.
Aside from Haunted Trails, were there any other places that you played at?
There used to be one when I was very, very young, like on the corner of 47th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up getting closed down because bad things were happening there, I believe.
What games did they have?
They had Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the only one I remembered playing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Definitely an obscure game that most people never even knew there was an arcade version of. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to experience that. How long have you been coming to Galloping Ghost, and what do you remember your first time here?
I don't really remember it that well, but I was told that this place existed, I think, like 2 years after it had opened. I believe you guys opened in 2010 or so. Yep. Right? And I was talking with one of my best friends, and he mentioned that, they have the arcade Haunted Castle here for Castlevania. And I'm like, well, I got to play it in the arcade format because I really like that game, and it's ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
And so when I first came here, that was one of the first games that I would literally just come in just to play it.
Do you know, was that the first game you played here?
I believe it was, because it was in the row with versus Castlevania, and Mercs was like right behind it.
Yeah.
And I think it's always been like that since I've been coming here.
Yeah. Well, and since you've been coming here, we've had so many events that have happened and tournaments. And is there a favorite one that you've been a part of so far?
Well, I like Sega Week an awful lot, and it's every single time it's always a bit different.
Yeah.
Because I mean, last time for Sega Week was Brian Keita won it, and it was really close. It was just me and Keita, and I think James was there too, at like the last day. And I ended up, I think it was second place or so, and Keita just squeezed on by, named the Sultan of Sega. But I think coming from that one, that Sega Week was all of us really enjoyed playing Sega Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Because that was one of the games that none of us knew how to play. And I think Keita and myself are the ones that like practically demolished it. And I think I was one of the first people to actually 1cc it.
Yeah, and get the good ending.
Yes.
Which is a tremendous thing in itself.
It is very difficult to get. I believe there is a video somewhere where I cut out with 1 second left, and it still gave me the game over screen.
Yeah. I remember that video well. That was quite the look of disappointment. But that's how scoring goes. Yeah. Obviously here it's such a competitive place, and there's so many scores going on. Were you into scoring before, or what got you into scoring?
I don't think anything really got me into scoring per se. Uh, I started to go for scores because most games, if you can complete a game with one credit, you basically got the score. So I started playing the games that where if you can beat it, and if it loops, more power to you. You just keep increasing the score.
Yeah.
And I started doing that when I came in here.
Yeah. Did you find it at all difficult to, like, again, because so many of the players here are so focused on scoring, was it, and often many of the other players here weren't coming in with a scoring background. Was it an easy thing to get into, or is it still just like you're just playing to finish the games?
It felt like I was just playing to finish the games. A lot of the times I would look at the cards that you had on top of the machines to see who currently had it, and most of the time it was always either James White or Matt Walters.
Yeah.
And I think those two people, I ended up taking a lot of their scores from them.
That's awesome. What do you remember your first scoring accomplishment? Because I remember you stood out so much with your Haunted Castle score. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the first, but that is the first one that was so stand out because
Yeah, because nobody played it apparently, and a lot of people had never seen it from beginning to end because
Yep.
it was just so ridiculously difficult.
yeah. And where did you get your experience on playing it? Like how and did you prepare for it? Like were you watching YouTube videos? Were you playing it on MAME?
I I was mainly coming here to play it because it is dramatically different going home and then using a joystick or a keyboard. And I really wanted to have the joystick and the two buttons here.
Mhm.
So I would probably come in late at night because I think I was on third shift, and I would come in on my off days and just end up staying here till about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
So I would just sit on that game and then just learn how everything moved, how the hitboxes worked, the distance on the whip and everything, and where the whip begins and stops. I mean, I analyzed the crap out of that game.
Yeah. Well, and it's such the heritage of that game being related to Castlevania, and you're absolutely right that few people knew about it, and it did really stand out when you took that score because so many of the other top players had walked away from it just because of the difficulty, and to see it not only the first loop gone through, but the second. How many
Yeah.
loops did you do on that one?
I think it might have been the third or fourth loop. It's been a while since I watched the video.
Yeah.
But I know that I've looped it considerably. I got over 500,000 or so, and I was really hoping to continue on with that, but I haven't touched it, since then.
Had you played it beforehand? Like you were aware of the game, but did you actually play it?
Yes, I maimed it a very long time ago when uh, I was in college classes and we were just killing time and we were talking about games.
Yeah.
And I think the version that I played is pretty much the identical version that's here at the
Yeah.
arcade. So I think it's like version K or something.
Yes.
And it's not like the version M or whatever revision it is out there now.
Yeah. Well, and now when you are playing games, like, are you focusing more on just scoring, or like you say that that's clearly a fun game for you, and you
Yeah.
haven't been back to it? Are you more focused on playing for fun now, or are you really focused on scores?
I mostly play for fun now. It's
And the scores just happen.
yeah. If I just happen to really go for a score, I find myself looking at the score more than the game.
Yeah.
See the numbers go up.
Yeah.
And that is a huge distraction for me.
Yeah. What would you say has been your toughest accomplishment to get? Like, has there been a score that you have just kind of focused on and that you absolutely had to have that score?
It was Interstellar Laser Fantasy when it finally went up. I know I got the score now, but that's a house high score. And I really want to break it down and get that world record for real. That's been listed on Twin Galaxies.
Yeah, that's definitely a difficult one, and unfortunately, I know it's been one. You were so close. You were getting
Yeah,
closer and closer to it. So,
but that is one of the games where I went ahead and downloaded the Daphne loader
yeah,
and then got the game to work, and it would do the exact same thing that it does here, except I would have a Windows pop-up error, and it was
yeah,
like some sort of integer, error, and it would just crash the entire game.
yeah.
So
Is there a score here that you've lost that you want to get back? It's like it bothers you that you lost it.
probably Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, because before I got that one, uh, my brother's friend from like back in the day had that score.
Yeah.
He was Jason Speedwack. I don't know if you guys know him that well, or I haven't seen him in so long, and I would just literally taunt him all the time after I got it. And he's like, "You're gonna make me come back and play that game," and I'm like, "Yeah, because it's a fun game. You should play it." And then I believe it's Carlos has it now.
Yep.
Right, and we've talked a little bit about it, and the way it sounds is both of us got equally far in the game. So if one of us can cross that threshold, we'd also get the score.
Yeah.
It's one of us will get it.
Is that one you're focusing on now?
No, it isn't. But I mean, I can see myself coming back to it because it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Um, has there been a game that you have just walked away from that it's like it's now out of your reach? You don't want to invest the time on it. It's been just kind of pushed beyond what you think you can get.
I don't think I've ever walked away from a game in frustration, like just walk away permanently from it saying, I
Yeah.
can't get this.
Yeah.
Because there are several games that are being played right now, like Xenophobe is what Jamie Tibbetts has been playing,
Mhm.
and I was sort of getting into it, and
Great
I've
game.
never really played it, and I really started to grow and to enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
And another one is Don Pachi, what everyone else is playing, so I
Sure.
just jumped on the bandwagon of that, and well, I'm terrible at the game, but I think I'm pretty much holding my own on it so
Yeah.
far. I mean, out of everybody that's played it so far, I think I've improved a lot from just a regular guy coming in to just play it.
Yeah. Well, and again, you clearly have such tremendous skill at such a variety of games. I remember one of the uh, things that really stood out with on Megaforce, which was a score that Martin Bedard had come in and he took so many scores, and that was one that you really stepped up, and a dozen scores were taken from regulars.
Yeah.
And literally a long period of time went by without anybody even coming close. And that was one that you really came in on and focused, and it was great to see you take that score. And just again, one of the many accomplishments that you've had here. But one accomplishment of yours that I want to focus on is your one of your most recent, your 10x championship belt. What were the highlights of winning that? And what were some of the games that really stood out then that you enjoyed so much?
Well, I really enjoyed Night Striker
Great game.
a lot because it is essentially Tayato's answer to the Space Harrier engine. I think it runs on the same principles of it,
Mhm.
and it's very unique. And there's like so many secrets to
Mhm.
it, and I had no idea that there was a pacifism mode till Pete Hahn told me about it. And then I looked up pacifism on YouTube, and I just seen this person run the entire game on the actual arcade machine. And I'm like, that is incredible.
Mhm.
That is knowing where every single bullet will go at that point in time and moving at just the right time to make sure you don't get colliding with enemies and dodging all the bullets. Because if you take a single hit, pacifism mode's over.
Yeah.
And that's you gotta start all over again. That's seriously running a game like a god.
Yeah.
It's insane.
What were some of the other games in the
Mm,
and were you confident that you were going to win? At what point were you like, I've got this?
I think there were quite a few games. Trying to remember the list because it was scattered about because it wasn't all 10 in a row. It was
Right.
quite a bit. Um, I remember Tibbets was telling me that like the game. I came in late that day, just after the big reveal, and Tibbets is sending me messages saying like, "Oh, this is totally a Gorz game. I'm just gonna throw in a couple of games and then just let him take it." But I can't think of off the top of my head right now. If I
Yeah.
had the list on me, I'd probably know it.
Okay. Do you have and again, the 10X championship is you could definitely tell a lot of your fellow gamers they wanted that belt.
Yeah.
What else are you like? What are some of your next goals that you have lined up? Are there other world records that you're hoping for? Is it any specific tournament? Is it the gamer of the year?
Mm, I I really have no idea because it's been a heck of a year so
Yeah,
far. I
you
mean,
have
so
had
many. So not just here, just outside the arcade. It's just crazy.
yeah.
But
Well,
I I guess if I really wanted to, I would probably I do like to play Forgotten Worlds an awful lot,
really,
and the jump in on it with Brian and James, and then go back and then just do a little bit of back and forth with Brian Shillo on several of the other shooter games like the Gradius series of games.
yeah.
I think it would be pretty cool to do.
That's awesome. I like that you're wanting to go after some of like that's definitely a score and with Don Patchy. Both those
Yeah.
games I already pushed and you've watched the back and forth between them and to have the gaming skill and confidence to go up and want to be a part of those scoring battles is just awesome to see.
Well, the thing is about it, it's not just going after it and then just hiding what you've done. I've talked to Brian several times, and we've talked about different techniques that we've used and other stuff. And most of the time, we're copying each other, but we just don't know it. Um, I don't see it till I see him play the game. Instead for going back and forth on, and then I'd say it's like we've actually ended up doing the exact same thing at this spot at this point in
Yeah.
time, and then we just chuckle about it.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned some of the players like Brian and James. Like, who are some of the players that you admire here, and what do you like about their play styles?
I would have to say Matt Walters and Fred DeHart,
Yeah.
because when those two guys are together, it's pretty comical to see
Yeah.
them here. Because not only do they go back and forth, but they talk smack to each other, and it's just the atmosphere that they provide. It's
Yeah.
just they they do commentary to each other, and then like say like someone screws up and be like, oh, that game is garbage, just throw it out, start all over.
When you're playing, how is it streaming or having a crowd of people around you? Is that something that you're comfortable with? Does it make you? There's some players that excel with the crowd, and there's others that wish they could just have basically the arcade to themselves so they can just focus on the task at hand.
That is a good question. Because I do like a crowd. It's just that whenever I did, stream at home or come here and stream, it was always, it always felt like it was by myself anyway, because you don't have somewhat of a crowd of people watching you
Right.
here except online. And at the same time, I would like to talk to them while I'm playing,
Right.
but not take my eyes off the game. But it's difficult to do, and it's something that I need to get more comfortable with. I'm not nervous about it. It's just that I'm new to it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, like obviously you've played every Monday that you're here. You've got a crowd around you and people are watching, and it doesn't seem to take anything away from your scores. Like you
No.
take it's great that you're able to play like that.
Oh yeah.
If you could have, well, first let me ask, what are some of your? Give me your top 5 favorite games here at the Galloping Ghost Arcade.
Oh man.
Or just a few.
Well, I would have to say a game I don't even think I have a really good score on, but I just love to play it, would be Spy Hunter. Galaxy Force 2, of course.
Yes.
since it's running again, technically. Versus Super Mario Brothers. Metal Slug X. And it's going to have to be Lucky and Wild for that last one, because that game is a lot of fun.
You are the world record holder on that.
I hold it currently right now.
That is
until someone else walks in and takes it.
Wow. That's scores.
Yeah.
They're always, you never know when one can go down.
Oh yeah.
But fortunately, you've been able to set a lot of these scores at such a high level that you've been holding on to many of them.
Oh yeah.
What are some of your other games that you like? Maybe we don't have them, or maybe they're console based. Like, tell us more about what you like about just what games you like on console or stuff we don't have.
Well, I usually played PC growing up, because all I had was just a Nintendo Entertainment System and an Atari 2600, and that was all downstairs in the basement, and that was my dad's Atari and then my brother's Nintendo, and I would always end up playing on the computer instead, because it was always upstairs, and don't have to go downstairs in the basement. I mostly played Wolfenstein 3D, Doom. I'd always play the weirdest games that were on the demo CDs that my dad would get in the mail. One of my all-time favorite game genres that were on the PC were the racing simulation games, like Stunts, Test Drive 1, 2, and 3.
Sure.
I mean, like, those were the best, and I mostly played those along with computer RPGs like Might and Magic and Betrayal at Krondor. As far as interesting games that probably could be at the arcade, I would probably have to say Megapede. That is a total clone of Centipede, but with little bits of bells and whistles on there, and
Sure.
that the centipede gets to the bottom of the screen. The centipede gains armor, and you have to, double shot him in order to kill it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, if you could be known for one game like that you could just run in and out that you currently don't have, like Haunted Castle, what game would you want to be like the master of?
I don't know.
No. Well,
I mean, for arcade,
yes.
That I don't know. But
No.
if it was for any game in particular, I would have to say the Guardian Legend for the
Guardian
Nintendo,
Legend for
because
NES?
it is a nice score system in there, and I know that game inside and out because I played it so much.
Yeah.
I essentially broke the game.
Yeah.
I know what weapons bypass what and everything. It's really interesting.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us what else would you want people watching this profile to know about your gaming experiences and about you and how you play video games?
I just play them. I mean, I usually go on, forums and then find out what everyone's talking about and then discuss them if I've played them, and then we talk about it. And usually there would be like sort of a game of the week deal for said system, and we'd all play it and then we talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we thank you very much for being a part of this. It's been great to find a little bit more about such a top player here. Again, you've got 21 world records on Arcade. Just amazing job, and we thank you for being part of our community and doing everything that you do, and everything from showing up on the Monday mystery events, and just it's awesome. And we thank you for being a part of all the tournaments, and huge congratulations on not only the 21 world records, but being our current 10x Monday mystery game champion, which again is a very prestigious title. So
thank you.
Pete Gorz. Check him out here. He's at the arcade all the time, and we hope to see you around the arcade soon. I'm Doc Mack for the Galloping Ghost Arcade, and we hope to see you around the arcade soon.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everybody.